What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here from DataDash, and today is November 25th of 2024. Well, folks, I hope you all are having a fantastic day wherever you are, because in today's video, I want to do an imperative update on Bitcoin and altcoins, because I think there's some things that really need to be said that not many people are talking about. A lot of people are going to be misguided in the wrong direction, even though this is the time where we should be paying attention, we should have liquidity ready and be deploying into positions. But there are a lot of traps that you can fall into as many people are preparing for a further continuation of Bitcoin or a potential altcoin cycle. We got a lot to unpack here in today's video, so if you happen to enjoy it, consider dropping a like, grab a cup of coffee, and stick with me. You guys won't want to miss this one. So I want to spend some time to talk about really the important factors here. As Bitcoin has cleared through the line of resistance that we've been watching for here, is getting close to the big even level of $100,000. This is obviously a range that a lot of people are waiting for. This is where altcoins are going to start heating up, and I would feel that Bitcoin, at least in the near term, is probably hitting some type of window. It doesn't mean it can't continue onward here. We're gonna have to see what happens when price comes down to those kind of key momentum moving averages like the 21-day. But overall, I think in the short term, Bitcoin is a bit overheated here. To just be cautious and not really expect Bitcoin to make too much of a run up here in the near term. That being said, we are obviously focused on the altcoin sector. That's where a lot of the multiples are. A lot of altcoins have started to pick up, and we're definitely keeping an eye on where those opportunities might be. The big thing above all, though, is that for the broader altcoin sector, we are not only back up here towards the prior range of resistance since back in June, which was prior support back in April 2024 during the first major dip. So that's good to see. We're pressing up here again with the most resilience we've seen so far, because most times you usually get shot down. But beyond that as well, we're also seeing that we're holding on the 200-day as of now. That is what I want to see here. This is that cue where we could really start to get the run up here. And that's coming in pairing with Bitcoin dominance seeing an actual sizable shakeup here over the last couple of weeks. If we take that to the weekly chart, you're starting to get a clear top formation forming. And that gives us a real opportunity where all this excess, additional $1.5 trillion, $1.5 trillion of additional market cap that Bitcoin has since back a few months ago, now can really trickle down and benefit a lot of altcoins. Not to mention the increased inflows of the ETF, increased institutional sentiment, the buybacks from MicroStrategy. We're going to be talking about that as we go through the video, not to mention stablecoins as well. So this is where we could get a realistic scenario where Bitcoin dominance could drop into this pocket, and that could give us a ton of really exciting opportunities in the altcoin space. So I want to spend some time to talk about that, because that's really where I think many of you are looking to trade at this point, including myself. What are the areas that we first should avoid? Now, the reason why I would talk about this here is because you probably got a lot of other people, including myself, telling you about where they're trading in the market. And there's a lot of people, unfortunately, who are going to lead basically everyone to the slaughterhouse, right? And what I mean by this is that people who are just echoing what's popular right now. For example, a lot of people are telling individuals to go out and buy XRP, right? XRP is a momentum play. Each cycle usually has its run up. That's great. At the end of the day, XRP has been able to recoup the last year's worth of losses against Bitcoin, which is awesome if you caught the trade here at the bottom. But now a lot of people are thinking, hey, Nick, should I buy XRP? Well, here's the thing. If you simply look at the chart here against the Bitcoin ratio, you'll find that over the last couple of years, since back in 2019, this is the point when we get close to the 200 week, the orange and red line here, and approaching the 100 month, this is generally where you're going to see sellers come in, right? This is where essentially distribution comes in. I would assume large stakeholders of XRP who have a plentiful amount of tokens probably start unloading, not to mention those who actually, as a trader, bought the bottom, right? So the main thing I would say here is that the XRP rallies have gotten weaker and weaker over time, and that the 200 week is usually resistance. So I'm not going to be sitting here telling you to go all in on XRP. If you really want to chase the perhaps remaining premium in the trade up into this range for like a 33% return against Bitcoin, I can respect that, but I would definitely recommend that you have proper risk management. Along with that as well, same thing, XLM, another momentum play. What do you know, right back up here towards the 100 month and the 200 week, where generally speaking we've had resistance. Not to mention just over time it's lower highs and lower lows, so this definitely isn't a long-term hold. If you're chasing this as a trade, again, I would make sure that you have proper risk management. The problem is though, is that we usually use things like the 21-day as our kind of means of support, and there it's way down here. So if you got in down here, that's wonderful. Might be time to start taking some chips off the table and look to rotate into something else when the opportunity presents itself. I would not be chasing these. And then this obviously leads into talking about some of the large cap layer 1 protocols, right? outside of the typical momentum trades like XLM and XRP, which have been around since we did our YouTube channel back in 2017. I know some people are obviously wondering about Ethereum. Ethereum's down 64% from its top to bottom lows, essentially in price since back in December 2021. Isn't it high time for Ethereum to make a run up? And I would say above all, guys, that I think that there's definitely going to be some kind of bounce here. It's a matter of getting an actual, I think, weekly close, or at least a few days above the 21 day, because so far every single attempt has failed. This one was probably the most sustained one here in early November, and it just got faded even harder. I don't like seeing that here. That tells me that there's a lot of supply on the sidelines that's just willing to sell any potential rally. But at the same time, watch how it plays out here. If ETH starts to really form a base here and we start getting above the 21 day, that could be interesting. We could come up here to the 100 month, maybe up here to the 200 week, reverse a lot of this downside like we've seen in some altcoins. And that's not incredibly exciting, but at the end of the day, that could still be a nice rally here against Bitcoin. So if you're looking for a more kind of low risk play here, I think ETH at this point is pretty oversold, as much as I think fundamentally Ethereum is quite weak alongside most L1s and L2s. But again, it's all about ratios here. It's all about the liquidity momentum and the velocity of the market right now. That's quite favorable to crypto. Solana, I know a lot of people are probably thinking Solana's heading up here towards its prior highs back in September 2021. I could possibly see that happening. Again, it's a possibility. So for percentage wise from this point on, if Solana holds in that 21 day, that's going to be another 82% move here. Again, very similar to the kind of percentage range we're talking about Ethereum. Neither of these are really more than double your capital. So if you want to play with those kind of lower risk plays, in the event of an altcoin cycle, that's your kind of cue. And I don't think they're going to correct as heavy as other altcoins in the event that we don't get that altcoin cycle. Not to mention, you can still use proper risk management. A really simple way to play these, for example, instead of me just telling you like, oh, it could go here, would be that, okay, if this is your kind of target range, of course, obviously don't just take all profits all at once up here, unless only if it hits this level. Don't do that, right? You can take profits along the way, but you can also have a specified downside risk here. So if you want to build an entry here and you want to get out of your position if it dips more than 10% going below the moving averages, then in that case you have your specified risk reward profile. It's really simple. This is a very favorable trade to go long here. I'm saying that as someone who's not a big fan of Solana, at the end of the day, you have a good risk reward setup here, and we have historic price action that's shown us that it can get up to this level. There's a lot of new increased supply here, just keep that in mind, but I'm just letting you know, still overall it would be a favorable risk reward setup here for a trade. All right, so as market cap has started to expand beyond the prior highs of November 2021, we're about 10% higher here. I think, again, the realm of possibility of how far this can go is starting to slow down. But the good news is that a lot of that is Bitcoin. So as Bitcoin starts to maybe cool down a little bit, a lot of that acceleration can come in the form of altcoins. And that's going to play to the benefit of those who are looking for some really great opportunities. I really want to emphasize, before we talk about the altcoins that we're looking, the narratives we're watching, the big thing I want you guys to understand is that I think the opportunity is going to start transitioning from Bitcoin to altcoins. And the reason I say that is because a lot of what's really been driving this Bitcoin demand is not even the ETFs, it's not even stable coins. Those are definitely dynamics that have helped here, and the whole sentiment since the election has been kind of the cue for that. But the big thing I want you to understand is the MicroStrategy premium. Right, the essential premium that MicroStrategy shares have been trading at against Bitcoin, and how the market has been kind of using it as a conduit to get exposure via equity brokerages. Not to mention, there's this philosophy that essentially MicroStrategy stock is going to be able to be priced higher because the market prices in future earnings, and therefore we should keep paying more ridiculous premium for it because they're just going to keep taking on more senior convertible notes and issuing new shares. They're going to buy more Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's going to be estimated to be worth $1 million in the future. Therefore, we have to price MicroStrategy shares even higher. This is what you're going to be hearing paraded from a lot of people, and I'm going to tell you guys straight up here, like, look, yeah, it's my opinion at the end of the day, but I've heard this, time and time again. History doesn't always repeat, but it certainly rhymes. These kind of BS narratives that really allow for irrational behavior and exuberance to come up, I promise you, they usually end very badly. And what we saw on Friday's close for MicroStrategy, not to mention the ratio here where we were up 400% versus when MicroStrategy first announced its Bitcoin acquisition back in August of 2020, and a single trading day went all the way down to 282%. So in net percentage terms here, the premium dropped significantly. And I have no doubt that that could continue to happen. And that could very well be an early stage sign that Bitcoin is no longer going to have that supportive layer of additional exuberance that MicroStrategy has been able to afford over the last couple of months that has allowed it to keep buying Bitcoin on cheap debt. So I'm not here to say the MicroStrategy is going to implode or anything like that. What I'm here to say, though, is that not only could the share price drop significantly, though, but beyond that, that is going to remove a big cushion of buy-side pressure for Bitcoin, right? That has been not absolutely biased in the direction of just buying Bitcoin. And that's going to create weakness for Bitcoin's price, in my view. That, again, as we look at the percentage return, right, from the kind of top, previous top to where we are here and stuff, we take a look at market cap terms from the prior highs, which is what we have highlighted here. All right, from the prior 2013 highs, which we just don't have the price action for, but I made sure it's aligned here. Right, we had an 800% expansion, 283% expansion, right? So basically coming in these massive reductions, and we're already up here about 43% here. Keep in mind here, what is realistic for Bitcoin to do here? A lot of people are estimating that this is going to go to 5 trillion. It's going to go to 6 trillion over the next couple of years. Wouldn't be betting on that. I'm just trying to kind of keep everyone in with moderate expectations here. Luckily, we are at the phase though where I think you could see that optimism around altcoins. So what are some of those setups, right? At the end of the day, what we're seeing here is a transition, as we usually see throughout altcoin cycles, from Bitcoin down to large cap plays. So that you've seen it with XRP, you've seen it with XLM. I think we're going to possibly see that also with Ethereum and Solana here over the next couple weeks as there's a rotation to L1 plays. But there are also the sweet spots, and those for me are the mid caps that are in a lot of the hot narratives, whether it be AI or Bitcoin related infrastructure. So I want to talk about 3 setups here that I think you guys should keep on your radar that could really be good trades here going into a potential altcoin run-up. The first one here is Filecoin. Now Filecoin, at the end of the day, guys, I'm not a big fan of the project, don't hold any position yet, but I will say here, while I'm not a big fan of the project fundamentally, and I think like a lot of crypto projects, they are empty shells, the big thing I wanted to emphasize is that it's got good price action. For the first time, it's above, on its BTC ratio, it's above the 100-day moving average. And it looks like it's finding support there. And it looks very close to breaking through that 200-day. So from this point on, this has already still got another potential 200% run-up if it were to revisit the prior range of support and new resistance from back in May of 2023 to February 2024. I think that is very realistic. That's very probable that that could happen. We understand that market caps in crypto can get to pretty ridiculous levels. This would only be back to where it was back in 2021, which would be a 3x in net terms from where we are here, 200% return, so 3x in your capital. I think that that is pretty sweet if you have an opportunity to do that. So that's one of the trades here, just looking at the lineup of prior resistance. It's been moving higher and higher each time. We've also had higher bases or lows. So overall, that gives me a really good potential opportunity here to do a 3x on my capital. Along with that as well, we've got Fetch. I've talked about it a lot, guys. I think Fetch here, above all, at the end of the day, being the aggregation between Fetch AI, SingularityNet, and also Ocean Protocol, really puts it as one of those new players that could really do well. It's just got to get past this 21-day. After that, I think it's easily going to come back up here to the prior mid-range resistance, and then it's going to go up to our higher target range, which is a good couple multiples from where we are now. So this is also another very favorable play. It's on a lot of exchanges, and it's one in which I think has the ability, with the broader sentiment around AI and DePIN, to do really well. So keep that on your radar as well. We've also found support again in the 200-week pocket. Good to see. That's the kind of accumulation signs we want to look for. Now it's just about whether or not we can get above that 21-day, which so far we haven't gotten, but this is also one that I'm really optimistic about in the event that that happens. All right, next up, we have Stacks. Stacks is still at a very healthy level against Bitcoin, still in the lower end, still below the 200-week. This means that if we do have the broader altcoin cycle, in this case, this could continue to run up in a big way. Now, obviously, Stacks, at the end of the day, is positioned as the strongest fundamental protocol when it comes to the Bitcoin infrastructure narrative. But overall, this hasn't been as strong as I think many people had anticipated. The question is if we're going to finally start seeing it show up in price action. I think that the narrative is there. I think there's an opportunity for this to do a really good move, but it's got to start showing up to the plate. Every single time we've come to test the 21-day, we get shot down very quickly, or the gains don't hold. So for me, I need to start seeing that price action changes, and it may even be better. I know a lot of people are kind of feeling FOMO now. They're feeling like get in the market. But one of the important things you have to understand is that even if you have the cues to go long in the market, it doesn't mean that you just go long into any altcoin willy-nilly. Like, you have to make sure that the altcoin itself is showing market leadership and strength. And right now, I'm not seeing that in stacks. I think it's got the opportunity to do so. But what we see throughout history is when it breaks the 200-day, that's when things get exciting. If it can't get past it, then it's just going to keep getting held down here. All right, we can see that throughout history, right? You got to attempt above the 20-day, up, goes right back down. Attempt above the 21-day, goes down, can't hold, right? Then you start seeing the 21-day hold, you test the 200-day, up, still gets shot down. And then finally, when we started to make the 21-day support, we make the 200-day support, that's when the real trend happens. That's when I want to be in the market on these plays, right? So I've got to see those signs at the end of the day. I try to stay neutral to narratives and not get eaten up by which one is the most strong fundamental play, or which one do I like the most, right? It's all about price action, right? And that's, again, why XLM and XRP, which are really not much more fundamentally exciting than where they were back a couple years ago. I guess maybe that's up for debate to some people, but it's really just a momentum trade at the end of the day. The price moves come in a very short period of time, right? Now, obviously, there are some other narratives that we're watching. We're watching meme coins here. Meme coins have caught up quite a substantial amount, mainly due to the reacceleration in the large cap plays like Doge, Shiba Inu, Pepe, Bonk, Dog with Hat, Floki, you name it. So these are kind of absorbing a lot of that market cap increase. Mainly Doge has done this. I mean, it's been tens of billions of dollars of appreciation here. So Doge has really been, again, similar to XLM. XRP has been one of those momentum trades that a lot of liquidity has flown into. But my focus here, again, at the end of the day, is to be able to find a play that within a day could do what Doge did, right? And there are tons of meme coins doing this, guys. So we're going to be keeping an eye here on the channel. If you guys want to know, what meme coins we're trading here, what those altcoins are going to be when we place a trade on more kind of substantial or kind of mature plays like Fetch or Stacks, or all these different plays, like when our entry is, when we're getting out. If you want to know when we're going to find these meme coins that are momentum plays that could do a 5 or 10x, I definitely recommend you guys check out the Dash Report. We're doing a small Black Friday special when it comes to the Dash Report for those of you who are eager right now with what's going on in the market and you want to give it a try. Usually it's $35 a month, and if you sign up on the monthly subscription, it will renew at that. However, for the first month, if you reach out to us when getting your Telegram set up and everything for all the alerts groups, you can also request a partial $15 refund on the first month. So it's only $20 for this month, and then afterwards it would renew at the normal $35 a month, or you can try the annual subscription if you want to move over to that, if you really like what the dashboard has to offer. We give a 20-page plus report. We have our trade alerts group. We've got a discussion group. We've got a whole range of different features and benefits, like the mid-month webinar where you guys can ask me questions. We'll dive into the charts midway through the month. There's a whole range of really cool stuff there. So if you guys are interested to check that out, feel free to check out the link down below in the description. And that's where you'll get to know where we're making our trades on a whole range of different plays. There are a lot of different meme coins out there. It's a very difficult job to try to filter out which plays are actually worth your time and attention. And I try to do my best to do that. We did great in Q1. Some of our best trades in the last couple of years in altcoins were in those meme coins by percentage returns. So we got some really great opportunities on the horizon. Next up, I wanted to talk about other narratives here that I think you guys should keep an eye on. A big thing that I really think you guys need to keep an eye on, seeing as there's really no cost or upfront risk to it, is the NFT space. This has been one in which, especially with meme coins really taking off and some of the more speculative ends of crypto, I definitely think you need to keep your eye on the NFT sector and where the development's going. And one of those projects is our long-term partner, Energy, or more specifically, GMI are GonnaMakeIt. This is the NFT marketplace, the premier one in the energy ecosystem, one of our favorite L1 networks in the crypto space. And I think above all, this is one where you're not going to want to sleep on it because they're focusing on launching their GMI or GonnaMakeIt Airdrop. This is the 5th season. It's already live now. So if you guys want to participate, there's 32 days left, and there are a ton of ways to participate. We don't have to put any capital in. You don't have to risk anything. Just simply helping to get the word out can help increase your points, which will increase your later claimable GMI allocation. So I think it's very important to do that. I've been participating in many seasons here. I think that Tommy and the team have built a really great platform. So I definitely recommend you dive into the platform, learn about it, see what they've been building. I definitely think above all, there are a ton of great ways, and you can also track how you're doing on the leaderboards, as well as the referral program, which is a huge way to increase not only your revenue share if GMI launches and gets a lot of traction, but beyond that as well, also the amount of tokens that you'll get. So definitely check that out at the link down below in the description. And last but not least, I wanted to talk about the L1 protocol narrative. Now, obviously, we've talked a lot over the past couple of months about how you don't want to always think consistently outside the box. Crypto cycles are relatively predictable, and we want to be able to know which narratives are going to be those that will have their moment in the cycle. And one of those that I think, without a doubt, is probably the most highly probable to have its moment are layer one protocols, layer one infrastructure plays. I mean, we're already kind of seeing that in some cases in a variety of different plays, but there's one network that I really think, again, you guys should keep your eye on, and that's Aleph Zero. Now, Aleph Zero, again, is one of the only privacy L1s out there that has EVM compatibility, and along with that as well, CosmWasm support for the Cosmos SDK and the Cosmos ecosystem. So essentially, this L1 here is a powerhouse, and it's got full built-in privacy. It's going to allow for people to engage in DeFi and enterprise applications in the crypto industry, a whole range of narratives, and have them truly private. So I definitely recommend you guys keep up with Aleph Zero. They had a huge amount of news releases this past week. One of the biggest ones is integrating natively USDC. So now you can have native USDC bridged onto the Aleph Zero network. This is huge. It's not some kind of, for example, tokenized version of USDC and stuff that is originally sourcing from another protocol. You will have native USDC on there, which is huge for not only confidence in the network, but beyond that as well, being able to really bridge significant liquidity into the Aleph Zero ecosystem. This is a huge dynamic here. It can't go unnoticed. And outside of that as well, you've also had Rarible. Now Rarible, one of the biggest NFT marketplaces, as we were kind of talking about NFTs earlier, is now live on Aleph Zero. This is a huge move here to have such a well-reputable and well-known protocol in the NFT space already on Aleph Zero so early on is definitely telling me that momentum is starting to build here in the ecosystem. You also have EK in this case, which is the liquid staking platform. Now, originally EK was named under a different brand within the crypto space, but overall, this is going to allow for liquid staking. So it's going to allow for a lot of that A0 liquidity that's being staked on the network and matched to validators, being able to be utilized in a whole range of DeFi applications to get yield and do other types of activities to further increase transactions per second. And there's another really interesting thing here as well, which is the integration to the Across protocol. So this is, again, a very important bridging technology in the crypto space. If you want to dive into the details, though, guys, I definitely recommend you check out the links down below in the description. There's a lot of really exciting updates here for Aleph Zero. It's hard to kind of cover it all here, and I understand that time is limited as the market is really picking up here, so I want to be respectful of that. But the big thing above all is don't sleep on Aleph Zero. For me, the price action is finally starting to look like it's taking a hold here. It's at its highest level here over the past couple of months. It's been finding a really nice bottom here around this 100 million market cap range. And I think above all, guys, this is one of the strongest fundamental plays in the L1 space. Not saying the fundamentals matter at the end of the day, most of all, but we're starting to see it in the price action as well. And this has got a long way to go to get back up to where it was back here, say in Q1 of 2024. And with optimism picking up bigger and bigger, all I'm just going to say is don't sleep on this one, guys. I really do think Aleph Zero is a really exciting project. We wouldn't be working with them otherwise. So we've got a lot to keep on our radar here, guys. 4 kind of key critical narratives we're going to be watching. Above all, for those mid-cap plays and our emerging narratives like DePIN and AI, as well as Bitcoin infrastructure. There are also other plays that we didn't talk about, for example, like Render that might fit into this category. But outside of that as well, we've also got our emerging layer ones, we've got NFTs, and obviously we got Memecoins, which will probably really get to its kind of like really fun period towards the later stages of this altcoin cycle. If we're really just kicking this off, if we got a whole quarter ahead of us where things are going to get really wild, it might take time before we really start to see those small cap plays really starting to pop off. When more liquidity is in the space, more optimism and more euphoria. So a lot of exciting things to look forward to, guys. If you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like. It's a great way to support the channel. If you want to check out the Dash report or anything we discussed, I'll leave links down below in the description. But I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys right back here on Monday. Hope you guys are doing well. Have a great day. I'll talk to you all soon.